Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fandomology, where fandoms collide. And we are back once again with another, hopefully, interesting discussion to have with you guys today. It has been quite a while since we have done these discussions. We used to call them pop-in discussions. Now, quick reminder for how this works. We are not going to have the stream chat in the chat anymore because, of course, in the past, bad actors have come on and have just completely ruined the stream with all sorts of derogatory nonsense. So this time around, if you want to join the panel, you'll have to message me directly, whether it's on Messenger, Twitter, X, or Discord. Like any way that you have access to message me on there. I'll send you the link there. But anyways, hello in the chat to Blazerhawk Darren. How you doing, man? So I have already a guest here to join the panel with me. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. He is Mr. Fourth Place himself of Team Danky Kush. Let's bring in Glenn.
And I gotta play. So flattered.
I gotta play your clip, dude. Just get it right out the way.
Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah.
Might pick to win Money in the Bank tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be him. I think it's going to be Seth.
Yeah, what happens, happens. We only got 2 Money in the Bank matches, a tag match, and a title match for the Intercontinental Women's title. So,
yeah.
Anyways, then we got Worlds Collide tomorrow, but that's a different question.
Right. So, tonight, or this evening, rather, we are going to be talking, and hello, by the way, Chris. If you'd like, Chris, I can go ahead and send you the link too, because I would really love to hear your thoughts on this. But we're going to have a discussion, and this is going to kind of touch into the sort of pop culture thing that we usually do around here, but it's also going to get into sort of the human mind a little bit in general, and sort of the inner workings into why some people think the way they do. And the topic we're coming up with tonight is, why do some people prefer familiar things? Now, before we go any further with this, let me just establish right off the bat, I am one of those people that tends to prefer things more familiar. I am naturally rather apprehensive to new experiences, as the people that know me can attest. So, Glenn, what about you? Are you more so geared toward things that are familiar to you, or do you like going for the new experiences all the time?
Well, it's good to keep things familiar to you, but then you can also step out of your comfort zone for different things that are like you say, if you've never been on a plane before, you could step out of your comfort zone, try it out, see if you like it or dislike it. Well, it's a matter of dislike or like. It's pretty much how it is in a nutshell with stuff like that.
Okay, and that makes sense. Everyone is going to fall on some form of this spectrum. There's going to be some people that only like to do things that they know, things that they've done before. That is where they find their fun. And then there's some people that don't like to have repeat experiences, or rather, that's not where they get their enjoyment from. They want to go out and see new things, see new experiences, try new things, etc., etc. And let's also go ahead and establish this one right off the bat. Neither one is inherently good or bad, but one of those trains of thoughts does have a decided advantage over the other. And we'll get into all of that here in a minute. So let's talk about how I came up with this, because this is a very sort of self-reflective topic for me. Because like I said, I am someone that does prefer the more familiar experiences and things like that. And so that means that if there is a movie that I like, I will just go back and watch it dozens upon dozens of times on a whim, just because I feel like it. And real quick, we're going to go ahead and bring in another panelist, another man of TDK. What's up, Chris?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing well.
Good.
So let's ask you real quick, Chris. When you're talking about people that prefer things more familiar versus new experiences, where on that spectrum would you say you lie?
Well, it honestly depends on the topic at hand. Just as an example, gaming. Like last year, I played like a lot of new series that I otherwise ignored up to that point. Like, I mean, you might have seen that I consistently posted like the games that I beat throughout last year, and most of it was stuff I never played before, like the Alan Wake games, Control, Mass Effect, and a couple other things that I'd never.
Yakuza.
Yeah, and this year with Yakuza, like I'm going through that series.
Okay. All right, and that's fair. This is definitely not like a blanket, I'm only this way or this way. There's definitely some context that can be included here. Like, say you're up to try, just like me. I'm up to try just about any food you put in front of me, but there are certain experiences like traveling to new places and new experiences that I might be a little bit more apprehensive about. Real quick, hello to Trent, who says, DJ Pauly D, tell your son get wrecked, scrub. and Paul from YouTube says hi. Charlie says, I would say I'm more interested in finding new things. Okay, and that's fair. And we got another guest coming in here. This is someone that I have known pretty much since the beginning of both of our channels. I was there for his first stream, and he's been there with some of mine. Let's welcome in Blazer Hawk Darren. I wore the right shirt for you, buddy.
Oh, there you go. I like it. There you go.
That is a nice shirt, by the way, dude. Is that Cobra Kai by the chance?
It is, yeah.
Knew it.
So anyways, Darren, what about you? With the spectrum that we're talking about here versus of I'm only into things that I'm familiar with versus wanting to try new things, where would you say you fall on that?
Well, I'd be leaning towards, my comfort zone, but sometimes I'm not afraid to step out of my comfort zone. It's like there's things I'm, willing to try and give it a chance, and just research how to do things. Like just recently, I used my I just got a GoPro for an anniversary gift for my wife last year, and so it's like the first time I've actually fully used it, and I used it for a vlog, and still figuring out how to. I've got all the stuff transferred to my computer except for a couple of videos, and so I'm trying to figure that out. So it's trial and error.
Okay, and that's fair. Real quick, Trent said that he heard me and he said, "What?" Nice. Carson said, "Stop using Smart Steer." I stopped using Smart Steer a long time ago, so no worries about that. All right, so in talking about this topic, I've come up with some talking points, at least from my own experience, and we'll bring those up. And of course, if you guys have your own insight into why people sometimes prefer the more familiar things versus new experiences, of course, feel free to share those. But the first one, and I think probably the most over-encompassing point to all of this, is the idea that there is safety and comfort in the familiar. So we're all familiar with the funny, I use that phrase. We're all familiar with the term like comfort movie, comfort video game, comfort food, and so on and so forth. Like, everyone here, I'm sure, has a movie or a song or something like that that they will listen to or watch when they're feeling upset and they want to cheer themselves up, right? Does everyone have something like that?
For sure.
For example, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah, mine lately has been the song "Save Me" by Jelly Roll. And movie wise, okay, I'm about to you're either gonna laugh at me or not for what I'm about to say, but comfort wise, I just turn on Bluey and watch Bluey.
Wackadoo, dude.
I thought you were gonna say Caddyshack too.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. Oh, by the way, just as a heads up for you guys, I don't live with my grandmother anymore, so I may or may not be a little bit more loose with my language. Anyways,
We're off.
yeah. Trent says, I'm taking a new experience and going to Belize for a mission trip. It's scary, but I'm looking forward to it. I leave on Saturday at 6 a.m. from Philadelphia. Awesome.
We'll have the same trip.
And Alora loves Bluey so much. All right. Well, anyways, Darren, let's start with you. What's like some of your movies, video games, music, anything like that you tends to go to when you want that feeling of comfort, feeling of familiarity, and why?
Well, basically music. It's basically from my childhood, my time period that I grew up during my high school, which is mainly the '80s, and it's just nostalgic and it brings back good memories. And I'll hear a song and I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember when this, what happened when this song came out, what I was doing, stuff like that. Same with movies. I don't really go to many movies in the theaters anymore. I did see the Karate Kid Legends movie last weekend, so I actually enjoyed that.
Okay. Was that good, by the
So
way?
it was. I mean, I'll just say it. I'll just put it this way: it's like it was better than the 2010 version of the Karate Kid, but not as
Okay.
good as but not as good as 1984.
Okay, that's fair. Real quick, Charlie says, my comfort artist is Cape Town. When I'm feeling really down, their songs help me connect with the emotions. Oh, sorry, Cave Town is what he meant. When I'm feeling down, their songs really help me connect with the emotions I'm feeling. Yeah, that's pretty much Jelly Roll for me. Well, anyways, is there anything further that you wanted to say about that, Darren?
Um, yeah, and basically, I mean, then TV shows. Like I really haven't watched. I don't really watch much TV per se. I mean, there's shows that I have to catch up on that I haven't seen. For this season, it's like I've on like CBS. There's those two countries. There's two shows. Fire Country's one, and Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage is the other one. And
I
Okay.
love
I've
Fire
got
Country.
I've got some catching up to do on those. I haven't seen. I just haven't had time. And I just don't think about it because it's like I'm on my phone or doing something on my tablet, what have you. And
Yeah, I got you for
so,
that.
but it's like so I really and when I see what's on Netflix, I'm like, okay, is that really something? And I'm kind of rewatching Cobra Kai again, little by little.
I
And I'm
gotcha.
still I'm still in season one, so it's like, but it's like I haven't watched. I mean, granted, I watched all three parts of season 6, so it's like, and I did instant reactions on my channel to
Right.
those shows, and so
Okay.
what I like. So, but I'm just not really. I haven't really watched much TV lately. I've just been on, looking at stuff, whether it's on my social media apps or YouTube. But other than that, it's like music wise, it's like, when I'm at my job, it's like, we have guys that, are playing all kinds of music. My coworker, he'll play, some of the stuff
hmm
that's, down my memory lane and some of the newer rock music.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I can kind of speak to that music thing a little bit too, because aside from the music that I find comforting, I have seen firsthand through my job how music can be comforting for others, and different genres. Like there's one person that I know, and I will not go any further than that, that pretty much listens to nothing but modern country music because that is what he finds comforting. And that's completely okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I did enjoy country back in the days. It's like, my wife and I, were at our wedding. It's like it was one of her favorite artists was George Strait. So we danced to one
That's
of
a good one.
our wedding dance. Our wedding dance was his song from his movie that he was made, Country, Pure Country, I believe. So we
Okay.
did that. That was our wedding dance. His
I gotcha.
song. And so,
Well,
but yeah, I like the country from the '90s, but then it's just, I just okay. It's those are nice guys, but it's like okay, I'm a rocker. I've always been a rocker. I always will be a rocker. And
same.
it's just, and then for me, when Cobra Kai first came out and Johnny turn on his car stereo and Nothing But a Good Time came out, that's just okay. That just sealed it. Okay, yeah, I'm nostalgic, and that's nothing else.
Okay, that's fair. Well, let's move on now to Chris. What about you? What are some of your movies, TV shows, games, etc., that you tend to go to when you want something familiar?
Movies wise, I would have to say at least the first at least the first two of the Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Good
Because,
picks.
And then shows, probably a few years ago I rewatched the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, which was like my introduction to the character when I was a kid.
Okay.
As far as comfort games, one I've often liked to play again and again, Mario 64, which I think might have been my first game, period.
Mine too.
And then, yeah, those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head for those categories. And yeah.
Okay, that's fair. What about you, Glenn?
Oh, I got multiple, but I stick to when it comes to comfort music. I'm a classic rock guy. I'll do Metallica, AC/DC, Guns N'
Okay.
Roses, etc. Aerosmith, Sweet Emotion for certain song that I can play and basically feel like I could calm down with this. I listen to Skillet, etc.
Okay.
Comfort movies. Oh, I'm a Disney guy, so I need Disney movies because I grew
Okay,
up with that
that's
stuff.
fair.
I mean, I got Lion King on my freaking arm, so
I like that.
Simba right here, and then if you can't see I'm laying on my floor. It's
I see it a little bit there. Yeah, Hakuna Matata.
yeah, here it is.
Okay.
Yeah, Simba right there, and then on my other side is Timon and Pumbaa.
That looks really good.
Yep. I want to get Rafiki, Zazu, and all them. That was my favorite. That was my all-time favorite movie growing up. So that's why I got him.
Okay.
Comfort games. I'm a racing guy. I'll go kart racers, Mario Kart, Team Sonic Racing. I play Disney Speedstorm. Or I'll play I'll go on one of the emulators on my Switch. I got 6 of them, so Nintendo, Super Nintendo, 64, Genesis, etc. Just play one of them just for a nostalgia point. I mean, Pokemon Stadium on the 64, for example. The OG Smash needs to definitely come to that. But other than that, those are mainly some of mine. I mean, some people don't like racing games. Some people prefer a fighting game to be a freaking familiar to them.
And that's the thing. Whatever's familiar to you could literally come in any form whatsoever. Even going beyond entertainment, everyone has that one food that every single time, no matter how many times you've had it, that you're going to love it and it's going to make you feel good. Whether it's pizza, whether it's macaroni and cheese, whether it's steak, it could be literally anything. But everyone's got that one food that they love every single time, and it makes them feel good. So I guess the kind of question that I would then ask everyone, and I'll list off some of my things that I like. I mean, I held up Mario 64 earlier, but like these two games right here are games that I could pick up any day and enjoy them. Mario 64 and Star Fox 64. I could pick up either of those two games and be guaranteed to have fun, and kind of the same thing with other games and movies too. Like, for example, the Batman Arkham games. And yes, I know I never did finish Arkham Origins on hard mode. We'll get to that later. But I lost my point. Anyways, but yeah, so things like that are what I find for comfort. And of course, music-wise, I'm kind of in line with Charlie here, where he talks about music that specifically speaks to his emotions. And like I said, that has become Jelly Roll for me. Previously, that would have been stuff like a gospel group called the Hinsons. That would have been something like really just about any music I've been into, where there's this just, even if I've listened to new things since, I have to go back to that artist and just listen to them. And I think the overarching thing about all of that, going back to the first point, is that every single thing that we find comfort in, we also find safety. Like, we get this assured feeling within ourselves that everything is okay, everything's going to be okay. Would you guys say that's accurate with the things that you guys have said that are like your comfort things?
Definitely. Like that Bob Marley song. Every little thing's gonna be all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the biggest reason for that, by the way, welcome back, Darren. And I think the biggest reason for that is because deep down we know that the world is a scary, messed up place. And so we want to try and find comfort and safety in whatever and wherever and whoever we can. And one of the forms that seems to be the most effective, at least in my experience, is in the things that are familiar. And heck, this isn't even listed to like objects. This is places too. I mean, how many times, I'm sure, okay, let me back up a second. I was gonna say, I'm sure that everyone has that one vacation spot that they always like to go back to, and you know, they're gonna enjoy it every single time. They do all the same things and such like that. But truthfully, I don't know what everyone's family is like. I do know that that's what my family has been like with Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, and nothing wrong with that. Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg are a lot of fun. Dollywood is a lot of fun. Disney World could probably fall into that same category with me.
I haven't been to Disney World since my sister's graduation.
How long ago was that?
Oh, that was like about 7 years.
Wow. Okay.
But I felt like a little kid down there.
I got you.
I've never been to World. I've never been to World. I just Disneyland because being on the West Coast.
Okay. And
I'll
I
be
think
right back.
that. Oh, that's fine. And I think that is a good transition into the next point that I have, which kind of, again, ties into the first one. People try to recreate the enjoyment they had from their first experience with that. And this is especially prevalent right now with entertainment, because what are we seeing bunches and bunches and bunches of examples made of? Remakes, whether it's the live action Disney remakes, whether it's continuations of already established stories like Cobra Kai or Star Wars or literally anything.
Remasters of video games too.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good example. Remasters of video games. Everyone is trying to go back and basically, for lack of a better way to put it, recapture the glory days of when this thing that they first experienced was fresh and new and their mind was blown and such like that. Now, why do you guys think that is?
Well, when it comes to like remasters of video games, like the recent remaster I played was the Suikoden remaster of Suikoden 1 and 2.
Mhm.
Those are games my dad beat from start to finish, basically with every character and every piece of like every play, basically kind of 100%ed it with a guy. It's basically the world's version of like bringing back stuff you like grew up on because
Mhm.
Suikoden came from the Suikoden franchise came directly from the PlayStation, which that was a nostalgic system. I mean, like when they brought the emulators to the Switch, I felt like a little kid again because a lot of those emulators had stuff I've actually played.
Oh
And
yeah, definitely.
and when you brought up those cartridges, the Star Fox 64 and Super Mario 64, those are actually two of the games that you can play on the 64 emulator on the Switch.
Exactly.
And kids don't know nowadays the heartache it was
The
to
whole
try to get them damn. Yes, the whole excuse my language, the whole fucking heartache it was to get the damn thing to work.
Did you ever lick the inside too?
No, I'd always blow.
Okay. I feel free to judge me, but yeah, I would sometimes lick the inside, and it worked.
That's like if your PlayStation 2 or PS1 or any disc wouldn't work. Did you ever clean it with toothpaste?
Yes.
Did you ever? Yes.
My thing with that was GameCube games. I've done that with more GameCube games than I care to admit.
GameCube game and discs in general.
Mhm.
What did
Yeah.
I miss?
Yeah.
Well, Chris, we're on the second topic now, which is the fact that one of the reasons why people prefer things familiar is that they try to recreate the enjoyment they had from their first experience with that thing. And we're talking now about why that might be. And I think another.
I think for me, people today they don't have all the creative influences are pretty much out there, and so they just don't know what else to talk about, and so that's why they do stories based on stuff that they grew up on, and or they want to redo it, and so there's no imagination.
Right. I mean, how many times, for how many at this point decades, have we heard the expression Hollywood has run out of ideas?
No shit.
Exactly. So,
excuse my language.
So you just hit on the head there, Darren, what I was actually about to say. I think it's because just in general, a lot of the new stuff that we have today, and you could say what you want about the quality. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. Everyone is entitled to their own tastes and enjoyments. But some people just maybe are not satisfied with what's coming out today for a multitude of reasons, literally any reason. I mean, come on. I started this channel initially as a Star Wars review channel, and I was very vocal from day one that I didn't like Disney Star Wars, but still loved the Star Wars of yesteryear. Return of the Jedi's poster, still right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would much rather sit down and watch any of the original 6 Star Wars movies and the 3D Clone Wars show, heck, even the 2D Clone Wars show, than I would rather sit down and watch pretty much anything by Disney these days. And kind of the same way with a lot of music. There's good modern music that is coming out now. I'm slowly getting more into that, but I still have a big affection for the music of yesteryears, just about any genre. So pretty much anything from the 90s and older is what I also like to do. So Chris, what about you? Why do you think people prefer trying to recreate that first experience they had?
Yeah, because I'd say it's because like like nothing like ever beats like the first experience at something. Now, not everyone does, but some people just try to like keep that feeling, I guess, to like maintain it even when they try something new. Like in creative pursuits, it's kind of hard to think of like original ideas or like for anything, but you just gotta like take your inspirations where you can, whether it's something like you grew up with or a certain type of character or plot point. And I'm just talking about this from like a writing perspective, but yeah, people are able to get used to like want a certain thing, and you'll either like grow out of that eventually, or you'll just maintain your familiarity with that thing just because it's like what you know best about the topic at hand.
Yeah, and that's completely fair. What about you, Darren?
Yeah, it's like basically it's like what I said earlier about just no imagination. And I think, but you can take something that enjoyed as when you were younger, and you can make a story your own. I mean, I think the writers from Cobra Kai is a great example of that because they love the Karate Kid trilogy so much, and what they did is that they based it on the past, but they also modernized it too, and they did it out of respect. They did it out of respect for what they had. They had the material, and they just expanded it.
Exactly. Yeah. Real quick, Charlie says in the chat here, I think trying to chase a memory of an emotion is if I say this right, Sisyphus task. I'm going to Google that one real quick. However, showing something I love to someone new allows me to see the feeling of something new through their eyes. I also think making media based on nostalgia is cheaper than making original content, and you only need to adapt the old material instead of a team trying to make something new. I think that's a huge point right there, that you could say, okay, real quick, I'm going to bring this up on screen because I just looked up what that weird Sisyphus word is that Charlie used. So let me bring up what I looked up here. So we'll go to Wikipedia. This is apparently a Greek myth. So in short, he did something to piss off Zeus, and he was sentenced to eternal punishment in the underworld. And that punishment was having to roll an immense boulder up a hill only for it to roll back down every time it reached the top for eternity. And so basically what it says here is, through the classical influence on contemporary culture, tasks that are both laborious and futile are therefore described as Sisyphean. Okay. And that is completely fair. And yeah, what he said here, making media based on nostalgia is honestly cheaper than making original content. And I'm not necessarily saying cheaper financially, because I mean, how many bloated budgets have we seen Disney sink into these live action remakes recently? But it's cheaper as far as brain power, because really all you have to do is take a formula that exists and be like, okay, let's just tweak a few things here and there, instead of having to come up with the work of coming up with something completely original. And Chris, I believe you could probably speak the most to this, right? Considering you do write your own stories.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely true because Like I have like documents like for stuff like backstories, what the characters can do. For context, this is a superhero story I'm working on,
Mm-hmm.
and I am planning on developing like a timeline and I just keep those reference materials open like while I'm plotting out as I was plotting out the chapters of the first book. Hasn't been published yet because I'm still waiting on feedback.
I'm sorry, Chris. I wasn't laughing at you, but look who
I
has
see.
popped in. You want to join us, Phil? I'll send you the link, Phil. You're welcome to join if you want to. It's going to be in your Discord. But anyways, yeah, it is really hard, and I can speak to this too as someone that has had varying success at writing music. It is very hard for me to come up with an original chord progression and lyrics and melody that aren't like ripoffs of something else. But the problem is, at least that I can tell, and I hope I'm wrong, there's only a finite amount of different note and musical combinations that you can do. So you're going to eventually rip off someone. But yeah, it's definitely, and I think also another reason why people choose to try and pursue that first reaction that they had is because they have fond memories of it. They look back on it with rose-tinted glasses, you could say, and maybe they're worried that nothing else is going to give them that same, reaction, that same, how did I say it? That same enjoyment that they had from, say, for example, they go back and play Star Fox 64 time and time and time again, but the first time they played it was when they had the most fun, and they remember that fun, and they're trying to recreate it because they don't think they're going to get it anywhere else. And I can definitely say that that is something I have been guilty of. But, and here's where we transition into the final point, at least the final point that I had prepared. Here's the paradox. By sticking to the familiar and avoiding new experiences, you miss out on a whole level of joy. So that joy, that enjoyment of the first experience that you had with someone, it's out there waiting for you with literally anything you could go out and experience. But by only sticking to the familiar, trying to recreate that enjoyment, you miss it. And here's where, let me see this real quick. Phil says justice for the box in the corner. That's Phil is that's Smokey's little fortress. So that box is getting well used. But anyways, though, here's where we're going to get into a little bit of the chemistry of your brain. So everyone has heard of the term dopamine, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the pleasure response in your brain. So have you ever noticed how if you're very big into social media, it's very uplifting to an addictive point when you post something on, let's say, Facebook, and you just see all the likes pouring in, and you can't stop yourself from watching them, from looking at the comments, and so on and so forth. That's dopamine at work. Mm-hmm. And dopamine is created literally when you're doing anything that gives you joy or pleasure. And you're guaranteed to get dopamine from any source that does that, but you get the most when it's something you have never experienced before, at least in my experience. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, for me, it's like I said before, it's good to step out of your comfort zone once in a while and then branch out and do something that you've never done before. Like just recently I branched out to do. We had this little celebration thing for Asian heritage downtown here in Iowa, and I decided to take my fiance and I down there to see how it was, and it was pretty cool.
Okay.
Um, Also, we have a farmers market that's like yearly around, and I like doing that for enjoyment too. But
That's interesting because my son and his girlfriend, she's of Korean heritage. They went to a festival like that down in Los Angeles last week, or they just
then
got back from it.
and then I also had a buddy of mine that I work with. He went clear to Manhattan, New York, for a Pokemon Go Fest because he plays that on his phone. So
Hold
he
on.
probably
A Pokemon Go Fest.
yes.
Oh wow!
Traveling to New
No,
York just to play Pokemon Go.
well, whatever floats his boat.
I mean, fair, but still, it's whatever. Like I said, stay on
Some
topic.
people, okay, honestly, some people may think it's kind of silly. Some people like that. I mean,
Yeah, that kind of plays into our point. If that's where
mhm.
you get your enjoyment, that's where you get your dopamine hit, then it's completely understandable.
Whatever trips your trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, Chris, what about you?
So I mean, I'm willing to try new things every now and again. Like I already like the list of games I mentioned earlier that I haven't played before last year, and I've also been just continuing to like when I going back to the book I'm writing for a second. I've also done artwork of the characters, and for like a few of them, I've like got to like go back and like revise the designs for whatever reason, because like I may like something one day, how it looks one day, and then I may eventually want to change something later because I think the story or at least just the design will benefit from that change. Um,
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Darren, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually, well, when I talked about my doing my GoPro and figuring out things out for my vlog, well, I did something for the very first time last weekend. I could have gone both days, but I couldn't because I was too busy. But we in our local area we had a thing called the Beaver State Comic Con, and it was at our local fairgrounds. And so I went last Sunday, and I vlogged it, and it's my first experience, and that's why I'm working on it, trying to get it all put together so that I can put it out on my channel. Sharing with who I met and who I talked to, and it was actually enjoyable. And so when it comes back again, I was like, I'm definitely going to go again, circumstances permitting. But yeah, and I'm not want to try new things. And then this September, my wife and I are going to be going on this cruise down to the Bahamas, and so we're
Oh,
going
that's
to,
going to be fun.
and that's going to be our very first experience because her brother has his in-laws, his in-law parents. They're just fanatical with going on cruises, and so we got a deal, and so we're taking that. It's like it's going to be a long but fun trip, and I definitely going to vlog that as well.
I gotcha. And yeah,
So
you
yeah,
definitely should.
Just one
yeah.
thing
So
there, Darren. Don't get seasick.
oh, I've already been out on boats. Okay, because it's like I've taken charter boats before. We would go out on the Oregon coast, and we just basically go out and do whale watching. And so I'm used to the charter boats. So
Yeah, I'm just
cruise
kidding.
ships are cruise ships are more stable.
Okay.
Like I said, just don't get seasick. I'm just giving you guff.
Oh, I know.
I gotcha. So for me, with the whole missing out on new experiences because of being the familiar, that is definitely, see, I kind of swing back and forth. I am definitely someone that that does enjoy things that are familiar to me, probably more than I should. But at some point, and this is another kind of point that I didn't really put in there, but I will. Eventually, the things you're familiar with, you're gonna get tired of them because you know what to expect, and it's the same old thing over and over again. And so, going back to the idea of familiar vacations that I mentioned earlier, like I said, my family always wanted to go to the Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Tennessee area. And again, nothing wrong with that. It is a beautiful area with lots to do. But I started to notice, especially in my adult life, when I was going with everyone, that we tended to stick to pretty much this routine where we looked around certain areas of Pigeon Forge, only went into certain shops, did the same thing with Gatlinburg, spent maybe 1 or 2 days in Dollywood if we did that particular trip. And it got to the point where I started to intentionally start asking for new experiences because I wanted to do something new. Otherwise, I was just going to get burned out of going to Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg because we do the same things. And I'm not trying to disrespect mom or anyone like that that has that thinking. But that started to help me enjoy those vacations more, whether or not it was going through the Ripley's Believe It or Not Mirror Maze for the first time, to meeting Coffee on Korriban, Tim, and doing stuff with him the times that we did, or this most recent Tennessee Gatlinburg trip that I had with my at the time fiance Virginia, where number one, I stayed in the nicest hotel room I've ever stayed in, and we just we took it at a very, very much slower pace. You can even go back to the same things, but enjoy it in a completely different pace. And that's kind of a good transition right there to another point that I did add. The right person can make something unfamiliar appealing, and I forgot to add this part, something familiar seem new. Someone mentioned it in the chat earlier. Someone mentioned it. I want to say Darren and Chris, one of the two of you mentioned the idea of showing someone else new something that you enjoy, whether it's sitting down, like let's just say hypothetically, Darren, you're a Cobra Kai expert and you sit down with someone that has never seen Cobra Kai before and you watch the whole season with them. Isn't that kind of vicariously getting that brand new first time experience through their eyes?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I tried, when I was watching it again, not recently, but just in months past, I could be watching it and, having it on in front of my wife and trying to, because she'd never seen it. And there was moments that she did like, and moments that she was like, yeah, right, like that's going to really happen or something like that. Just, like the school fight thing, she was like, okay, that didn't need to happen. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But then it's like, I think I was watching, let's see, was it part 1 of season 6, and I already seen it, and then she was out doing stuff, and then when she came home, I had to show her the baby reveal episode, and that was, she actually liked that one. She thought that was funny.
Paul,
Okay.
the comment you were citing earlier about showing something they love to someone else, like that was from Charlie about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Charlie. Let's see. He just popped in and says, I watched the show Severance but then dragged my friend to watch it and got to watch them come up with theories and see stuff in a new and different way. Exactly. And the thing with that is I'm kind of in that situation too, going both ways with my wife, where my wife, since I've met her, has been showing me movies and shows and such like that she enjoys. Some of the movies that previously I would have never watched, like Elemental, like Turning Red, like Moana, like Encanto. But she sat down and watched those movies with me and like pointed out the different things that she liked. And through her, I was able to enjoy those movies. Same thing with, again, going back to the Tennessee trip. My last vacation was with her, and it was, again, we went and did many of the same things that my family did, but we did it at a different pace that made it feel new and feel more enjoyable. And then that same year, we also took a trip to Universal, which was my first time ever going to Universal, and I loved it. Genuinely loved it way more than I ever enjoyed Disney World. So yeah, depending on who you're experiencing something with, the right person can make the unfamiliar appealing and the familiar new.
That's like when I first started going with my fiance to Illinois, where she's from. Some of the stuff I've never seen before, and then a lot of the places I felt like a little kid. I mean, there's this like Asian place called Mitsuwa, and where she grew up, and I felt like it looked freaking cool, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So, but also, can I ask you this with this talk about enjoyment and stuff? Could it be also like fashion too? Like if you like wearing, say you like wearing like I'm just a shirt and jeans guy or something
Absolutely.
like that.
Yeah.
Like you just like, I'll wear a shirt and jeans, or say you like wearing your hair up. Some people like wearing their hair down, et cetera, et cetera. That's the only thing
that applies too. You know, what you wear, everyone's got their favorite t-shirt. Everyone's got their favorite pair of jeans or shorts or something like that. So yeah, that absolutely applies. Where are you? Come here. You want to say hi to the people? She doesn't want to say hi to the people, but are you sure? Come here. Come on. Come say hi.
Maybe she wants to go back to her box.
She'll get to go back to her box here in a minute. But yep, here's Smokey, everyone, being the little hellspawn that she is. She was playing with the hair tie that I'm actually wearing right now over there. That's why I took it from her and decided to put my hair up, because trust me, that would have been a lot of background noise. But anyways, guys, is there anything else that we want to talk about with this particular topic? Anything we didn't cover?
Well,
go
ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say, like, going back to the whole like sharing something you love with somebody else. Just as an example, like with Trent's little guy Carson. I like something I'm just interested in, like, is seeing is like how games are gonna like evolve for like his generation, because like, and just to see like how he'd I imagine like one day like I'll ask Trent to like show him like some old game that one of us would have played growing up, just to see how he likes it, and then just getting to see like how the tech and the field and all that evolves like through his eyes, like at his age. Like that's got to be amazing to see for him.
Y'all weren't able to see it real quick, but Smokey was climbing from the box to the windowsill here and nearly lost her footing.
Oh Lord.
Oof.
Yeah, like here's what she's doing right now. See?
Oh yeah, that's a cat thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a cat thing.
Smokey stream when?
I don't know. If I can figure out a way to put a GoPro on her while I'm at work, I will absolutely stream that, assuming she doesn't break it.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
I would laugh my ass off with all that.
Yeah. Darren, any final thoughts from you?
Not much. I mean, I kind of teased it a little bit. You know, it's like talking about attending my first Comic-Con ever, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm getting all those pieces together because I want to upload that and share what my discovery and who I met. And so I'm not gonna get into any of that. But if you look through my Discord server, Paul, in my chat, you'll see some of the photos I uploaded and some of the people I met. So you'll know.
Okay, I
Right.
gotcha.
But yeah, so I'm working on that right now. We're also in the middle of kind of rearranging our house. So we're because my son just moved out into his old place, and so we gotta get rid of the stuff in his room and get stuff that we need. But it's a
Okay.
process. But I'm gonna definitely try to get this vlog up. Hopefully by the end of the weekend. That's the plan.
Okay. That all sounds good. Well,
But like
anyways,
I
guys.
said, it's the first time for me. First time basically vlogging, first time using my new camera, first time for lots of things on this experience.
I gotcha. Well, I hope all of that works out for you, man. I hope you enjoy your trip coming up. But anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap that up here. So thank you guys for watching. And of course, thank you, Darren, Chris, and Glenn for being part of this panel and talking about this with me. I think we're going to do another one next week at the same time. And I already know what the topic is going to be for that one. The topic's going to be how to use and how not to use AI.
Yeah, Christ. I'm probably artificial intelligence is an artificial pain in the ass.
Yeah, so that one could
There you go.
get a little bit spicy. So we will see what happens with that. That
Would
is
that
really
include
the only.
like Bluetooth and that?
No, I
Just
mean like
wondering.
generative AI, like Chat GPT, AI art, things like that.
I'm a little okay. That's out of my wheelhouse. So
Well, anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and call it there. So again, thank you to the three of you for being part of this panel. And for everyone else, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And just remember, everyone, Trevor, this is for you.
Delicious Whoopers, the cutest of all.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. No. We can't leave yet. Because I just remembered Kobe had sent me a message to read on this very topic. So I'm going to pull that up before we go. So here's what Kobe said. He said, well, I think the reason that people prefer something familiar over something new, at least in terms of media, is because it plays on what's already been established and therefore predictable. A lot of superhero films have this trope in mind, especially when it comes to big-time names like Spider-Man, Batman, and every other heavy hitter out there. We know their origins, appearance, powers, personality, and what to expect from them. The main point is that familiarity follows an easy-to-understand formula or structure, one that makes it easy to understand and not worry about. When it comes to the newer stuff, that's where things tend to get a bit more controversial, not in the bad sense, but more so open for interpretation. With things like new characters, new stories, new games, and all that, fans go in blind, not knowing what to expect, and that's where the key element of fear comes into play. It's the fear of not knowing. The fear of unpredictability, and more prominently, the fear of change. However, depending on the person, said change can prove to be beneficial in some aspects, whether or not it's relying on stereotypes or turning a trope on its head. It all depends on your perception of it. And I think what Kobe said right there honestly hit the nail on the head for hit the nail on the head for pretty much all 4 of those points that I posted, especially this this first one. There's safety and comfort in the familiar, because yeah, everyone has to some degree a fear of not knowing. A fear of not knowing what's going to happen. So there is comfort in, knowing what comes on. But again, by avoiding new experiences, you miss out on a whole new level of joy.
Yeah.
So
I'm of the mindset now that it's like, okay, sometimes that's like some things will happen and it's like I'll get like some stress going on and it gives me an upset stomach, just a knot in my stomach. That it's like of course, medication's helping right now, but it's like I have the mindset that, okay, well, whatever happens, happens. And so that's why I'm not afraid to try, these new things like my Comic-Con last weekend and then this cruise. Because in the past, I was like, okay, the idea of being on a ship in a small cabin just was not appealing, but it's like, okay, well, you don't know until you try. And I've got the mindset that, well, what happens, happens, and just enjoy it. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
I gotcha. Real quick, hello and shout out to Crit of Everest Productions. He says, greetings to all. It's my birthday and I would join in, but I am busy today. Have a nice day. Well, dude, happy birthday, and I hope you have an amazing party. And real quick, Charlie says, I can give lectures about why change is positive via Doctor Who. Without change or regeneration, Doctor Who would not exist. Do me a favor, Charlie, once this stream ends, and send me a message over Facebook, because I want to know what your thoughts were on the way this latest season of Doctor Who ended, because from what I've seen, everyone hates it. But anyways, though, we are for real going to go ahead and end the stream there. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And just remember, everyone, the Force is family. See you guys later.